On the eastern coast of India, in the state of Odisha, sits the city of Puri. If you map the rules of standard physics, biology, and conventional logic, this is exactly where they stop working. The center of this geographical blind spot is the Jagannath Temple. It's a massive, ancient stone complex that actively breaks verifiable scientific laws on a daily basis. This 3D wireframe shows the strict, restricted airspace centered directly over the temple domes. You won't see commercial airplanes or drones operating anywhere near this airspace. Humans writing aviation laws is standard practice, but local wildlife obeying them is a biological anomaly. No birds fly over this airspace, and you will never see a single bird resting on the temple roof, an evasion not seen on any other major structure of this size. We can program machines to avoid a GPS coordinate, but repelling biological nature from the sky suggests an invisible physical barrier protecting the site from the top down. Dropping below that restricted airspace, the exterior architecture presents its own problems. The main dome stands 214 feet tall against the open sky. Yet, in total defiance of optics, that massive structure casts absolutely no shadow, not at noon, not at sunset, and from no physical angle on the ground. At the very top of that dome sits a heavy metal wheel known as the Sudarshan Chakra. The geometry of this wheel creates a localized spatial anomaly. Regardless of your physical location around the temple perimeter, the face of the chakra appears to be pointing perfectly straight at you. Mounted just above that wheel is the temple flag, which provides another physical impossibility. It consistently flies in the exact opposite direction of the prevailing wind. Maintaining that flag requires extreme physical labor. Every single day, a priest must scale the 214-foot exterior barehanded to replace it. The stakes for this daily climb are absolute. If the flag is not changed for a single day, the entire temple complex is required to shut down entirely for 18 years. A building with an exterior that visibly breaks the laws of optics and meteorology is difficult to process, but it only serves as the perimeter defense for the ancient secrets guarded inside its walls. Moving off the roof and into the courtyards, the sheer density of the daily crowds navigating the grounds becomes apparent. Feeding these crowds requires a massive daily culinary operation to prepare the holy food, or prasad. On any given day, the kitchens might cook for 500 people, or the crowd might unpredictably swell into the hundreds of thousands. Despite those massive fluctuations in human traffic, the exact amount of food cooked is always perfectly sufficient, and not a single grain ever goes to waste. This cross-section schematic shows the specific anti-physics methodology used in those kitchens. 7 clay pots are stacked vertically directly on top of a single wood fire. Standard thermodynamics dictates the heat source cooks the closest object first. Here, the food in the topmost pot, the one furthest from the fire, cooks completely before the rest. The cooking sequence then proceeds sequentially downward, completely defying heat transfer logic, until the lowest pot touching a fire finishes last. The courtyard operations run on a completely inverted system of physics, and that inverted system sets the stage for the highly classified anomaly locked inside the main sanctum. At the center of the complex sits the inner sanctum. It is heavily guarded, and its rules of entry are uncompromisingly strict. Non-Hindus are strictly barred from entering here. This rule is tightly enforced. Even the former Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, was turned away at the gates due to her Parsi marriage. Diplomatic immunity holds absolutely no power here. In 2005, Princess Maha Chakri Sirindorn of Thailand was denied entry and forced to view the grounds from the outside. What they are protecting is a stark departure from typical Hindu architecture. While most temples house deities carved from heavy stone or poured metal, the idols of Jagannath are constructed entirely out of wood. Scientifically, wood serves a very specific purpose. It is a powerful insulator, and a thick insulator is necessary to contain a massive, ancient energy source hidden deep inside the chest of the idol. The origin of that power source traces back to 3102 BC, when a hunter accidentally shot and killed Lord Krishna. Following Krishna's cremation, the fires died down, but the ashes revealed something intact. A glowing, indestructible metal object, functioning like a physical heart, had completely resisted the flames. This artifact eventually made its way into the hands of King Indrayubna. He hired a mysterious sculptor to build a hazel for it, who agreed on one condition. He needed exactly 21 days of total, uninterrupted isolation to carve the body. The king agreed, but the queen grew anxious and forced the doors open prematurely. The sculptor vanished, leaving the wooden idols unfinished. With no other option, the glowing artifact was placed inside these incomplete wooden forms. This is the Brahma Padartha. It remains secured inside the wood today, acting as a volatile source that generates enough energy to physically wear down its container. Housing that kind of raw energy takes a severe physical toll. Over time, the intense output from the Brahma Padartha physically degrades and depletes the wooden body containing it. Because the vessel decays, the temple executes an extreme, highly classified ritual every 12 years to extract the artifact and transfer it into a newly carved wooden body. The environmental controls for this procedure require absolute darkness. The entire city grid of Puri is shut down, plunging the temple into total blackness. The high priest chosen to perform the transfer is outfitted with thick, heavy gloves and a secure blindfold to ensure zero visual or physical contact. The few priests who have performed this blind extraction report a disturbing physical sensation. They say the heavy object twitches and pulses in their gloved hands, reacting exactly like a living, breathing rabbit. The blindfold is a strict survival measure. The established belief is that any human who looks directly at the bare, unshielded Brahma Padartha will die instantly. The inner sanctum doesn't operate as a quiet museum displaying an ancient relic. It is managed as an active, highly hazardous containment facility for a volatile power source. This active maintenance points to a specific reality. Within Sanatan Dharma, the deity Jagannath is a literal, living, breathing person. Because he is alive, the deity possesses biological vulnerabilities. For 15 days every single year, he falls physically ill, and the temple doors are firmly locked so he can rest and recover in peace. He also requires social interaction. Once a year, the deity completely leaves the sanctum to witness the joy and sorrow of the public firsthand during the massive Rath Yatra festival. The scale of this exit is overwhelming. The deity is brought down into the streets, moving physically close to hundreds of thousands of tightly packed humans. The infinite food production and the annual sick leave are the daily operational requirements of a life support system designed for a living metabolism. We live in a modern, data-driven culture that demands scientific, verifiable proof for every claim. If something cannot be measured, we assume it isn't real. Yet the Jagannath Temple stands in total defiance of that worldview. It forces modern physics, structural logic, and deep-seated skepticism to pause and admit defeat. After documenting the sheer physical impossibilities and the strange biological realities of this site, it forces you to ask, do you believe in a higher power? Because you are left to wrestle with a difficult paradox. The most impossible, technologically advanced phenomena on Earth might just be ancient religion.